and there have been some massive changes. Some teams got moved out. Some teams got moved in. So let's start right here at number 10, Colmsy, and you do have the Cincinnati Bengals getting back up into the top 10. Explain to me why you have them in the top 10.
Because the Cincinnati Bengals are still the defending AFC champs. The Cincinnati Bengals are a team that, to me, sitting there at where I believe they're 5-4, if my memory serves me correct. I really like Joe Burrows. I like what they have with their wide receiver core. I'm a believer in what they're doing. They've got should have a pretty easy win this week against the Steelers. They do have a tough schedule 2 weeks after that with Titans and Chiefs. But then after that, it gets a little bit easier for them. So I like the Bengals. I think that they're going to finish the season strong, and that's why I have them in at number 10.
Yeah, so you do have them coming in at number 10, and they're currently second in the AFC North, and the team that is in first in AFC North, and that is the Baltimore Ravens. Combs, people were up in arms saying that the Ravens are a top 5 team, they're a top 4 team, they're this and this and this, and you have them at number 9. Spoiler alert, guys, he didn't have the Ravens in the top 10 last week, so they bumped them up. So why do you have them so low when everybody thinks they're a top 5 team in the NFL?
Well, they're on a 3-game win streak. They're not a top 5 team in the NFL right now. They're just not. 6-3 right now. They've beaten the Browns, the Bucks, the Saints the last 3 weeks. They do have that good win over the Bengals. But when they played the really good teams in this league so far this season, the Dolphins, the Bills, the Giants, all 3 of those have been losses for them. So, I'm not going as far as you to say Lamar Jackson's trash, but I'm also not going as far as saying that this is a top 5 football team when they're clearly not.
Right. So if you've been watching the Man Hours, Combs, I've explained why Lamar Jackson is not very good. But let's stay in the AFC and go back to the East. How does this sound coming out of your mouth? The AFC East is probably the best division in football right now from top to like bottom. And coming in at number 8, we do have the New York Football Jets. Wow, that still sounds weird coming out of mouth 8 weeks later. But they did bump down in the rankings a little bit. You have them at number 8. Why do you have them at number 8?
I have them at number 8 just because, look, people want to go at me and say, well, they beat Buffalo and they should be higher than Buffalo. And I tell people all the time, just because a team beats one other team doesn't mean that they're in there, right? Like, I'm not putting the Jaguars ahead of the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm not putting the Colts ahead of the Kansas City Chiefs, right? Like, we're not doing something stupid like that. So I'm not going to put it out there. I don't trust them as much as I trust the teams that are ahead of them. They're having a good season. They're having a good run. At some point this season, I do expect them to wake up and realize that they are the Jets. It's going to hit them one time when they're putting on their uniform in the locker room or something. They're going to be like, oh, shit, wait, we're the Jets. And they're going to go right back to form. So I don't believe in them as much as I believe in the teams that are higher than them right now.
Yeah, and a team that many people have faith in, even though they dropped to the Kansas City Chiefs. My Kansas City Chiefs last week, and that is the Tennessee Titans. They play tomorrow versus a re-energized Green Bay Packers team, but you do have them at number 7. Let's talk about that. Why are they so low after their 5-game winning streak?
Again, they're a team that, for one, their quarterback's been hurt. They rely a lot on King Henry, and that gets them into trouble a lot late in seasons. It gets them in trouble a lot in the playoffs because they rely so heavily on King Henry. They become a little bit easier to beat later on in the season, whether it's he gets worn down or defenses are just stronger. I'm not sure what it is, but they always find a way to hunker down the stretch. Now, I do expect them to beat the Green Bay Packers. And for obvious reasons, the Packers just aren't that good. And so I think that the Titans are spot on with where they're at in the standings.
Yeah, so
the power rankings.
Yeah, moving back over to the AFC East, the powerful AFC East, that still doesn't sound right coming out of like out of the mouth. But the team that is number 1 in the division currently is the Miami Dolphins. At number 6,
Yeah.
Combs? At 6? That low?
Yeah, at number 6. Look, I know what people are saying, and they look at the power rankings and they look at the division standings. And again, we got to remember that the Miami Dolphins, while they are a good team, I think they might have the best wide receiver duo in the league with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Their quarterback is like we've seen him die twice on the field. Like, so I don't know that I really want to put all my eggs into one basket. Their schedule down the stretch is pretty tough as well. They've got the Texans this week, but after that, they got the Niners, Chargers, Bills, Packers, Patriots, and Jets. So it's not an easy schedule down the stretch. We are going to see what they're made of. We're going to be able to see what they're made of. They play the Niners, Chargers, and Bills back to back to back on the road. So we're definitely going to see what the Bills are made of here really soon. I just don't think that they are. They're not the best team in the AFC East. They're not the best team in the AFC right now. They're just ahead of them right now.
Yeah, so like it is what it is. A team that is ahead of them that has already beaten the Buffalo Bills, or sorry, they're beating the Buffalo Bills. It's the Buffalo Bills, and they come in at number 5. The Buffalo Bills went from 1st to 3rd in the AFC East standings after losing to the Jets last week, right? Or sorry, to the Vikings, I should say. And but you still have them higher than everybody in the AFC East. Justify that.
So the Buffalo Bills lost a really tough game to a really good Minnesota Vikings team. I think people underestimate, and nobody's really been talking. I mean, the Vikings are 8-1. And before that game against the Buffalo Bills, it was always, well, they only beat this team, but they did it without this person, or they did it without this. Let's see what they can do when they go into Buffalo. And they went into Buffalo. They fell down early, and they got themselves back up. Justin Jefferson was absolutely out of his mind in that game. And so the Buffalo Bills lost a tough one at home. They've got a quarterback playing with a bad UCL. As they get healthier, they're just going to return to form. I still believe the Buffalo Bills are probably the best team in the AFC. I still believe they're the team to beat, and that is why I have them ahead of the other two teams in the AFC East.
So just to clarify, you mean the AFC East, because not the AFC, right? Because there's a team better than them in the AFC. Let's just be honest about it.
I still believe the Buffalo Bills are the best team in the AFC, even better than your Kansas City Chiefs.
Okay, we will be talking about that later tonight. But coming in at number 4, you do have the New York Football Giants. People are legit pissed off about this. They're like, how are they so high? Head-to-head, yada, yada, yada. Explain to me why you have them at number 4 and not – and basically people are saying they don't even deserve to be in the top 10.
Well, how do the Giants not deserve to be in the top 10? Like, I mean, seriously, people that say this stuff are people of fans of teams that just don't like the New York Giants. Like, this team has shown time and time again, week after week, that they are for real. They're 7-2. They've got some good wins on their schedule. They beat the Ravens. They beat the Titans. They beat your so-called resurgent Packers. This team is pretty good. They have had a home-heavy schedule in the first half, very home-heavy. And so we're going to see here on the back end to see what they can do. But dude, the Lions are for real. I mean, or I'm sorry, the Giants are for real. I was looking at their schedule. They're playing the Lions this week.
Yeah.
Then they got the Cowboys on Thanksgiving Day. And you know, I think that this team's for real. I think they're going to beat the Cowboys on Thanksgiving too.
There you go. So coming in at number 3, a team fresh off of a loss. I hate to toot my own horn, but I'm going to toot it. Toot, toot. I called this. And I told you that the Eagles are not very good. As soon as you put them at number 1, they're going to come right back down. And that is who you have at number 3, and that is the Philadelphia Eagles. Are they still even a top 5 team after the Commanders laid that blueprint of how to beat them?
I don't think they laid a blueprint for how to beat them, right? I think what happened was you had some really uncharacteristic turnovers from this Eagles offense. You had some really bad missed calls. That missed face mask call was
Here we
insane
go.
to me. And I saw that and I was like, damn. But look, what I've been watching out of this league for the last, I don't know, 2 years, it doesn't surprise me that you've missed calls. You got to overcome that stuff.
Right.
You got to be able to overcome the turnovers. I don't think that there's a blueprint for beating them. I think it was a very tough played division rivalry game. And so that's why the Eagles only dropped to 3 for me.
Alrighty, so I still think they have a lot of flaws in their game, and I think the Commanders kind of exploded that a little bit and definitely did lay out the blueprints, but that is a debate for next week when the Eagles lose again this week versus the Indianapolis Colts. But coming in at number 2, you do have the Kansas City Chiefs. This team is clicking right now, Combs. Me as a Chiefs fan, I think they're peaking a little too early, but you do have them at number 2 and not number 1. And the team you do have at number 1 is the Minnesota Vikings, the team that just beat down the Buffalo Bills, arguably the best team in the AFC. Why don't you have those two flip-flopped?
I was extremely impressed with what I saw out of the Minnesota Vikings in Buffalo. I watched this team, and I watched this team do their thing, and if they play like that, I don't know that there's a team that can stop them. If Justin Jefferson catches passes the way he was catching passes and the way he was playing the rest of this season, I don't know that they lose another game, and that might finally get them a trophy in their trophy case. This Minnesota Vikings team is really freaking good. And I mean really freaking good. Yep. The Kansas City Chiefs, for me, having them at number 2, look, they're a good squad. You're right. They are clicking on all cylinders right now. And for me, the Minnesota Vikings they're just that team. And I really don't know how you're going to game plan for them. Plus, they have a better record than the Kansas City Chiefs right now too. So,
check out that man-hour clip.
I was
if
really
you're
impressed
interested in the next video.
with
click
Minnesota
the
and Buffalo.
link right here. Yeah. Of course, subscribe right here, and always join us Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. East Coast time, right here where you're watching this clip. And as always, Man Hour Nation, rise up.